Ladies and gentlemen, wow, I just popped on the screen. That like jarred me a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is time for the lower bracket final. Another matchup of two Maestro players. Unfortunately, one of them will go home, and the other will go on to face Rafa in the grand finals, who's just kind of waiting patiently in the shadows for whoever his opponent will be. I'm DJ Wheat, joined by ZSX and 40 Lions. And gentlemen, RAISY versus VENGEURR, a match that we have seen before in the past, but not yet at QuakeCon 2023.
We just saw it this morning. What the hell is wrong with you?
I mean, the rematch.
Leave him alone.
I mean,
We've
the
never seen it
rematch.
twice.
The
this tournament.
rematch.
We've
Yeah.
never seen it twice.
It's
been a long day.
Oh,
We're
the
sorry
amateur
about
hour.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Let's get you in the
Wow.
home.
It was the lack of
Where's the
transition to
wheelchair?
bring me up.
Right.
It was the
Let's wheel him out of here. Dan and I can take over. We
Wow.
appreciate you, absolute legend.
Well,
Let
you know,
me
the fake
remind
goldfish,
you.
goldfish memory.
Let me remind you that VENGEURR got trashed this morning.
Thank you. That's what it was, a setup for that. Yep.
Yeah, that VENGEURR got trashed.
I deleted it out of my memory the way that I hope VENGEURR did.
I like that. But no, he does look like he's warmed up a little bit now. And on the flip side, RAISY is the one that has to mentally reset after his trouncing from Rafa. So they've both been trounced today, and they maybe will both bounce back.
Just kidding. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be action packed. But yes, I mean, this is where we were talking about endurance, because you got 20-minute break, if that, and VENGEURR's right back into it. Best of 5. So yeah, and it's against RAISY, someone who kind of dumpstered him a little bit earlier, and he's got a little bit something to say about that. But he's got to be running on fumes. And even if he wins this, what's your prize? You get to go against Rafa in a best of 7.
Running on fumes, or a little bit of adrenaline from that last match with Zeneca. Like, you know, he did come out as a winner. He fought very hard for that one. I'm sure mentally a little bit exhausted, but also got to be on a little bit of a high from just like, okay, one step closer. Here's the next one. We see VENGEURR right here, and you know, for as consistent as VENGEURR's play has been throughout the QPL Season 4, maybe that isn't how I would label his play here at QuakeCon, right? But he's still had these moments of brilliance. He's still come back from games that looked like he wasn't going to be able to. Some of his own forced errors, and others just that, you know, because he was able to claw it back. So, you know, VENGEURR's still got it, still think that he has the potential to be his opponent. But, you know, RAISY, I would imagine after the 3-0 loss to Rafa, wants a little bit of payback there too. So, I don't know, motivations on both sides to take this one. And I think the hardest part is because they have played today. Thanks for reminding me.
That's all right, my friend.
And they and RAISY did win that one. How do you reapproach this one, right? Do you do so in the picks and bans? Do you do so just like mentally resetting, going, okay, we've done this before? But
I think, yeah, the picks and bans are obviously critical. And we saw RAISY actually, in my opinion, getting pretty much outpicked by Rafa. So, you know, VENGEURR should have put some concentration on that, on, you know, can he 5D chess him? But in all honesty, put that match behind you. It was that bad where it doesn't actually have a reflection on anything. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't really any circumstantial. It's just VENGEURR didn't turn up, and he self-admitted that, and he clearly reset that. And to your point, I think he's one of the most flow state players in the league. When he's feeling himself, you can feel that rhythm coming into his play. That's when he really plays his best. He reminds me of someone like Cypher back in the day. And so off the back of that Zeneca victory, you saw how relieved and happy he was.
Right.
You can see that confidence beginning to flow a little bit more, and he definitely needs that momentum, that good start. Similar to the analysis we had from RAISY Rafa, if VENGEURR gets off to a bad start, it's like, oh no, not again. It's not the second time today.
Right.
So
that map 1 becomes crucially important, especially for VENGEURR. Like, he's going to be in a better headspace if he takes that first map.
100%.
Yeah. What are you reading over there, 40?
I mean, I'm not taking a peek at anything. Don't worry about it. But yes. No,
Yeah.
I'm very excited to get into this one. But again, as you said, I mean, VENGEURR showed a great discipline in those overtimes. I mean, it's got to take a lot out of you. But he was making the right decisions. Arguably got caught out on Blood Covenant, which was unfortunate and led to that sudden death. But still, he had the grit to grind those maps out. It takes a lot out of you, but he still did it. He's still here, and he's still fighting.
I mean, 12 minutes of overtime in 2 games, that's kind of nuts. That's the one where it's like, if you do make a mistake, the game is over. So I don't know. Are we ready to look at the picks and bans?
I think we are.
You're already looking at him, you son of a...
Me? No,
all right. Let's
I know people.
Let's take a look at our picks and bans here. Oh my
Off
gosh!
the
Starting
bat?
off with Deep Embrace, Awoken, Ruins, Blood Covenant, and Molten Falls. Who wants to talk about this? I can just tell it's.
We could call out the clutch
Dan.
real quick, can't we?
I mean, that's the big talking point here. Is that clutch pick? You know, Wenger starts with the slash. He didn't have the ban, so he knows it's going to be on the board, and RAISY just straight up picks it before it could get banned. Now, one would assume that Wenger had an inkling it might be coming, but it's still, you know, it's a difficult map to play clutch because it's so intense, high octane. You know, something like a Blood Covenant that we've seen it on Awoken, where you have those separation of rooms to hide away when the shield isn't up. I think we have seen on Deep Embrace before, but few and far between because of the pressure that can come out, and we've seen the speed that Slash can play deep. So that's a really interesting dichotomy of how that is going to balance it out. Honestly, across the rest of the maps, it feels like everyone's got what they wanted, I would suggest. You know, like Awoken, RAISY got his pick, he got Ranger, and you know, Athena is an S tier pick on Awoken. Similarly, Ruins, we love Strog, and RAISY has often played the Sorlag there as well. And then we get to the latter end of the draft, where there isn't any great mobility champions left in the pool because the Doom was banned. So we have the BJ against the Galena. I would rather play the Galena on that map, but RAISY had the option and he's gone for the BJ. Time will tell if we get that far, which I hope we do. And then Molten Falls literally is we're scraping the barrel. And we haven't seen virtually, I don't think I've seen a single Ison apart from maybe first map on Veil in the whole tournament. He comes out and then Death Knight is left.
So wait, you're saying we're scraping the barrel. I still don't even see Keel on here. So where's he? He's just not even in the barrel?
There's a reason why I don't
how
talk
mid he actually is.
Right?
Yeah, just super mid.
Look, silver analysis, it's fine.
Okay, whatever. So in terms of these matchups, you feel like everyone got what they wanted.
Yes.
But in terms of energy, again, we keep talking about Wenger just got out of a grueling set. Do you think that's going to play into a factor here?
I think Deep Embrace is definitely a rough go for Wenger, right? We just talked about how important it could be for Wenger to take that first map and then try to really ride that wave of momentum. But when you're going up against RAISY, who basically invented the clutch play that we're seeing today, or at least was the one who was like, hey, this is pretty good, to the point where people were respect banning clutch against RAISY for such a long time. It then kind of fell out. Now we've seen all the Maestro boys kind of use clutch at some point in their tournament run. But having that in map 1 on a champion that RAISY's clearly comfortable on, that's tough.
Yeah, it's really hard. I don't know how it's going to play out, if I'm honest with you, because Wenger picked first. He picked a light champion. That leaves you open to that retaliation, right? The counter draft. Something like a Ranger would have been a much safer pick, and I would feel way more confident going into the clutch. But if the clutch gets that snowball, you off the spawn, you have no armor. The clutch does, it charges in. It can be chaos. The clutch can camp out in a heavy area. You can't really get to him. You don't want to rush him. It's going to be a really interesting battle, but if there's a specialist defense on this map, it's Wenger. We've seen him beat people on here from behind. He beat Zeniku on here from behind, so.
I was going to say the rails from Wenger have been insane. I forget which map specifically, but Dan, you and I specifically pointed out 3,000 damage with the rail.
In 2 games in a row.
Yeah. And he's going to need to make it a third now, so.
Yeah. All right, we're loading into map number 1. Pretty crucial for both players. Winner will go on to face Rafa in the grand finals. Wenger versus RAISY. Take it away.
We are live lower bracket finals. Let's make some noise for these players, please. Wenger versus RAISY right now. We are live on Wenger. And he has got to be just absolutely perfect here. Needs to be careful not to get just overrun with this clutch, Dan.
No, we have clutch in the server. It looks like we're going to have clutch out here in a moment as well. And this is a first for me. I've seen clutch on deep very few times. I don't think I've ever seen it against a slash. So I'm in for a first. And already we see a little bit of pressure coming out from RAISY. He's delaying this Mega, working his way around for the heavy. And Wenger senses something's up and actually doubles back, but Clutch is coming in hot. Clutch has this shield, but flies on by. In fact, the Fridge does miss, but connects with the rail on the exit, leaving Wenger with not much to work with. He's actually left the Mega up, not knowing the timing. Now he does, and we can semi-reset into some level of normality.
Does have the snail trail up. He slides past the rail, trying to just evade for a little bit. No major item for 14 seconds. It's going to be heavy as the next one. Vengeur's got what he needs.
Well, he hasn't got lights, though.
Armor-wise, no, but weapon-wise.
Sure, yeah.
It's just a matter of where are you going to position? Where do you want to try and deal with this clutch that does have a shield?
Exactly, and the scary thing about RAISY's clutch is this timing. He is incredibly patient, as we can see on his POV right here, just scouting out like a turret, surveying the area and checking for what he would suggest to be the best route of attack. And I don't even know how he is hiding his broad shoulders here, just camping out on the edge. Whilst Vengeurr is owning the low ground right now, which is where he has to live. He cannot challenge the up ground. As long as that shield is up, as long as he's done no damage, as they do meet down here, huge up rocket and a second 3 to boot. RAISY opens it up, and this is the problem we were worried about, the pressure off the spawn. Saying that, Vengeurr does an immense amount of damage with just a starting machine gun. We can reset, but RAISY has got 2 frags already.
And just that bump straight into the corner of the wall. Vengeurr had nowhere to go. So unfortunate. RAISY able to get another one off the back of that. But these rockets are not good enough, and Vengeurr melts him down with his LG.
He's taken a lot of damage, and there is no major items up for a while. The shield is up, although RAISY has a shotgun. He knows Vengeurr's going to be somewhere down here needing the resources. But no, he's actually got himself up to the high ground, and he is just having to play his opponent here. You can see he's making counter movements wherever RAISY is moving. He doesn't want to meet in an instant confrontation, because this is what happens if you do. Mining drill comes out. And that shield will be down for a little bit longer, but when RAISY...
Oh, okay. I thought that was going to be a float down. Got very scared.
You should be scared, because RAISY is connecting with everything right now. Impressive comes out. Vengeurr is on the ropes again. And yes, RAISY hasn't got the frag, but it's a matter of time until he does.
Very clean rails. It's not that easy to hit that slash like that, but RAISY making it look easy here as he has the shield up yet again before this heavy. That's going to make it insufferable to try and push in on for Vengeurr, so he might just keep his distance. No snail trail as he's playing low and slow, trying to live off the lights again, Dan.
He is, and it's very hard for him to get on the map at this moment in time, just down to the fact that RAISY's not showing himself until he feels the right opportunity is there. Vengeurr has to manufacture an angle, and he does, but he eats one to the teeth as well. Knowing that pressure, RAISY can continue to aggress. You can see him just owning the high ground. He's gone in aggressively here again, once again, and the shield comes out, and that's the strategy of RAISY.
Just RAISY things. Another day at the office right now. Vengeurr taking a rail off the spawn as a light, just doesn't have anything to do. A little bit of a tickle, but it's only a matter of time before he goes down right now. So
you want to know why RAISY's so good at the moment?
Why?
He's hitting 100% rail
you
on a slash.
You can't call that out, Dan. You're just going to jinx it.
Oh, damn it.
It's unfortunate. 5-1 though. Still, RAISY looking so in control right now. Vengeurr sitting on virtually nothing.
He has missed one now. He's 8 of 9, 88%, but he's going to go in with the heavy shotgun, super shotgun here. He beat in the mud hole. That's not where you want to meet that robot.
Yeah, that double barrel. Absolutely brutal. And RAISY just, it looks easy. I hate to say it, but it does right now. He's just very comfortable on this clutch, very comfortable on this map. Off the spawn after he gets the frag, he's usually hitting some damage, and oh my god, rockets like that just to the face. As Vengeurr has to try and slow this down. We're getting close to the halfway mark here in a 6-frag lead for RAISY. He's on a mission right now, Dan, it looks like.
He is on a mission, and the question is, how do you slow this down, right? The clutch is just all over Slash at the moment. Vengeurr's trying to keep his distance. He's trying to play around that rail, but the challenge is the fact that RAISY is hitting blow for blow. Yes, Vengeurr's also hitting his shots, but when clutch hits one too, there's not much you can do. You just have to try and run and keep away. But the patience from RAISY is showing true. Another rail comes out, nearly knocks him down. Has to rocket jump up, but he's got so much stack. The shield hasn't been used for a while, so it is up if and should he want to use it.
Look at this. Setting the trap right now is RAISY. And okay, he has to reposition because of that rocket right there. He's going to grab some more rails before he goes potentially for this heavy. And he does have the shield up, not up for another 9 seconds. And RAISY, similar to the last 5:40 of this map, he's dictating what he wants to do.
Sure.
It's on his terms, Dan.
And we're already in a territory, whereas even if Vengeurr does get a frag and some control, it's going to be difficult to rack these frags back to back. Considering the starting stack of the clutch, considering the shield is going to be up at some point. Wenger needs to start with the ABC. He needs to get these items on rotation. They have that big split. I mean, the Mega's been up for a while, but he wants to keep the pressure on. He knows that time is a ticking, and that's why he's trying to catch this clutch down below. But the maneuverability of the clutch means that even though Wenger's playing Slash, he's finding it so incredibly difficult to lock this clutch down. There's the second frag, but RAISY will have a Mega to fall back on. He's wasted so much time.
Yeah.
Or not.
Okay, yep, doesn't even want it, but that's okay. That's good for Wenger right now as he has to make 6 frags up. Flipping the bird a little bit of the snail trail as well. He's going to double back and he spots out RAISY. He might catch him, drops on him, and then double back. The double clutch, if you will.
Well, it's literally a juke, right? The Slash has to go momentum in one direction. The clutch can double back, and it is a juke. It's an ankle breaker, yeah.
It's got VTEC. That's something about cars. I don't really know, but yes, Wenger under an immense amount of pressure right now. 310 on the board, 6 frags to make up. That's a good rail right there, but he's going to need a lot more than that. Here's a good cutoff, decent rocket right into the shield, and that's part of the problem of dealing with the clutch. But he does have it popped. He has rotation on the Mega and the snail trail for that extra burst of speed and damage.
The pressure's on, but RAISY is already in wasting time mode. Playing keep away once again. Another rail comes out to nullify the stack advantage of Wenger. He still has to keep pressing on. The shield isn't up, but the angles aren't there either. Wenger has to open this window to try and manufacture some more damage coming out, but RAISY's made his maneuver to the other side of the map to try and keep away from Wenger, and now he's playing on the low ground, and that's a difficult area for Wenger to actually chase. And
this is a little bit of NASCAR for Wenger, all right? And that's fine. That's what you have to do. Big rocket, and after all of that, 2 rockets just cuts him down. 9-2. Is there any way for Wenger to get back into this one, Dan? It looks too impossible right now.
It kind of feels hopeless, but there is a frag. He's taking some damage. RAISY will get the heavy side of the map, and the heavy is up. He does see it. He does take it. So he is stacked. And he's just, again, exploiting the one weakness of Slash's speed. She's not
can't stop.
She can't stop. She can't corner.
Gotta go fast. 6 minutes. Or excuse me, 6 frags in less than 1:30 to get those. Oh my God. It's like that, but Wenger does hold on. Sync doesn't claim his life on that one, so he could double back for the Mega, but with 1:30 left, I mean, time's ticking. At this rate, I don't think he's going to make up the frags, but we've seen crazy things happen before, Dan. It's been a day of absolute madness.
If there's a time and a place where it will happen, it will be now, as Wenger knows where RAISY is, but no, how do you get that angle through the floor? 100 damage to Wenger's feet will knock him off that area. No items up, and RAISY can say, hey, you can come at me, I still have my shield. And as we saw before, it's not where the Slash wants to take any sort of fight. There's the shield mitigating any tickle damage that Wenger is putting out, but it's nothing of any significance at the moment. There is a rail, but RAISY's quite happy to back on through and do even more damage. And the problem is, yes, there's a frag coming out, but look at the time, look at the stacks. It's just wasting more and more time for Wenger to forge any hope of a comeback.
He's trying to force it, does force him through the telly. The LG has to be perfect, but it's not going to be enough because the stack again from clutch, even off the spawn, is too immense to overcome, Dan. 20 seconds, 5 frags. Wenger calls the GG.
Yeah.
And we talked about momentum. We talked about this first map and how we were scared because RAISY on the clutch is deadly, and that's exactly what we got. 10-5, the official score. RAISY looking very comfortable. Wenger just kind of shaking his head, I think, on that one. And there's not much you could do, and then that matchup is just very difficult.
Yeah, and kind of Wheat said it as well. He was fearful for Wenger's chances. He had the first pick again, going off on the Slash, which is generally a very, very good pick with this particular map. Have to question how much he did really expect that clutch, and if he did, what the game plan was going to be, because we knew how RAISY was going to play that, and it played out exactly as we expected. Nice and slow, picking his opportunities. Obviously, something we did not talk about was the fact that when the Slash is trying to catch the clutch, that maneuverability actually plays against her a little bit, and that's what we saw towards the end as well. So it definitely felt like an uphill battle from everything we saw here in map 1. And I guess the only condolences you can put out from this 140 is, well, there was a champion differential, so.
Look at that, yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything more terrifying than being that close to a clutch with a shotgun out. I don't know. I don't know. But map number 2 awaiting us shortly here. Going to be Awoken We're going to see Ranger and Athena. Wenger with the Athena, Ranger for RAISY in terms of that matchup. I mean, a little bit better, I would say, in terms of the overall matchup for sure. But again, I question kind of the endurance and the kind of this just stamina you have. You have to be exhausted at this point. Your opponent has already beaten you before 3-0, contrary to what we thinks. God bless his soul. But yes, you've gotten knocked down by this person you're playing. You're down a map. You just played the set of your life, best of 5. It was just absolutely grueling. It didn't even have to go to all 5 to feel like it. And now you're down a map, and you know you're staring down the barrel of elimination right now. Previous champion as well. There's a lot of pressure mounting right now for Wenger.
100%, and if he's going to win Quake one, you've got to go through everyone. They've always said this, and if you're in the situation, you've got to deal with it, and that's the fact of the matter, right? And I think fatigue plays a little bit of a part, but there's nothing in map 1 I would suggest that would resemble anything of fatigue just yet. I thought the decision making was good, the aim looked strong. It was just an uphill battle playing against that clutch, and now we're going into a map with a completely different set of champions. There is still the challenge of he's going up against a Ranger. We've seen a theme of this tournament, which is that orb into shotgun play, blowing up the lights, and that is a situation Wenger has to be wary of as well. But it is a far more balanced playing field now going on to Awoken, where both these champions could be considered a tier 1 pick on this map. And so this is far more just about pure execution, pure skill than playing around what would have been a champion difference.
Yeah, no VTech here. You think Wenger's a Swiftie? Because he's going to have to shake it off, Dan.
Oh, nice.
As we get map number 2 here. Don't punch me, please. Alrighty. We're going to be live on map number 2 right now between Wenger and RAISY. And immediately, big opportunity here as Wenger goes straight for that rail and kind of has RAISY trapped. RAISY does have the dire to try and get out in case it goes all horribly wrong. That's a free rail, almost 2. Ooh, just missing out on those opportunities there, but you could see Wenger not phased at all. He has a game plan, he's going to stick to it.
Yeah, he has the position here now as well. A second rail would have been absolutely lovely, but it wasn't to be. I've taken away that stack of RAISY, though, to put him a little bit on the back foot, but RAISY's made his maneuver over. And we have to be careful of that burst potential, as we talked about. RAISY actually gets a free pickup and is able to exchange unreturned damage again coming out from RAISY. Nice and slow to start, and there's the orb if he wants to take it. No, it's just a bit of a distraction, but the tri-bolt's there. That's a lot of damage, actually. Look how low Wenger is. He's going to have to vacate. There's no orb to make his way across to the heavy this time.
Wow.
But he knows he can rocket jump. He's got the angle on the rail, and now he knows he continues to push. Wenger's in a lot of trouble, and he won't even get the pickup.
Oh, and off the spawn, eats a rail. I think RAISY is just a machine right now.
He's in his flow, that is for sure.
Yeah, and that is very, very scary as he is just hunting, patrolling the upper T-con right now. Dire Orb in hand shortly, and that's going to be very, very dangerous. Mega up in 4 seconds, RAISY in perfect position. Wenger in no shape to contest, trying to maybe grab this heavy, but with the rocket jump, that's going to send him away. There's the Dire Orb. Good rail. But RAISY still claims the item, Dan.
He does, but that defensive play of Wenger almost smacked of that he understood what RAISY was going to do off the bat. Positioning on the far side of heavy, defending that angle, coming over the rail area. So decently played by Wenger, but I definitely want to see him put a little bit more pressure on these pickups as well. He can't give too much license for RAISY to play them up, and there's some good aggression going over on this light armor, connecting with a couple of rails and keeping RAISY away from the Mega. So that is exactly what I wanted to see. He needs to assert himself a little bit more now, get onto those lights and control the mid ground.
Not too shabby. 71% rail for RAISY, 58 for Wenger. Still very early in this one. That might be a key weapon here. And that is a big rail from RAISY. Dire Orb again in hand with tribal rockets, LG, whatever he wants. As the crowd loves weaponry, Dan. Every time you describe it, they go crazy.
And just that bit of pressure we saw on the light before has forced RAISY into turtle mode here. Hasn't been able to grab anything since that previous rotation, missed out, but he's playing the angles slightly better than Wenger. He's got a lot more unreturned damage. And that chip begins to add. He's making a move over onto the heavy. This time he doesn't connect. So Wenger's looking a little bit healthy, but you can see after the light pickups now, they are bang on even in stack. And he's got an orb if he wants to make a move onto this next Mega. Not sure he has the exact timing, and that's why he's playing incredibly slow. Delay coming out from Wenger. should have heard that pickup and will get the timing. But VENGEURR's moving back around, and he's definitely aware that RAISY is in the vicinity. But at the same time, obviously conscious. He doesn't want to make a move into any sort of choke point. Nice rail. And that will secure the heavy.
There's the hook up, and he actually takes that one all of the way, and RAISY going to play hyper defensive on that one, fall back with his rockets. Didn't really get a chunky one, but just enough to make sure that VENGEURR doesn't aggress. Looking for a little bit of tri-bolt on this next mega pickup, and RAISY slowing things down a lot. And that's an unfortunate rail to take from VENGEURR.
And it's so challenging from VENGEURR because RAISY's just making these peeks around the corners and then playing the choke points. So he's not contesting the pickup per se, he's contesting the exit and limiting any sort of aggression from VENGEURR by sitting in choke points. As we discussed, if VENGEURR goes into a choke point and doesn't hit the first rocket, it's almost inevitable he's going to die. That burst potential from the Ranger is ridiculous. And so it's making VENGEURR's life really difficult to understand what the right play is.
That's right. Yes, it is.
And that's reflected in the fact they both have less than 1,000 damage. VENGEURR's got total control, but is unable to forge an opening.
Oh, the tri-ball. Second lob of tri-ball not landing, but that rail, the disengage for RAISY, just enough damage. And Dan, do you think that this is just going to be the play now? RAISY's going to play hyper defensive. If he finds an opening, great. If not, he's okay with this one frag lead.
Yeah, he's playing the long game until VENGEURR overcommits, until he gets probably 2 uncontested rails. And at the moment, neither one of those things have happened. Saying that, he does work his way onto the heavy, gets hit on the rail just prior to the pickup, and a second on the exit. So that actually is exactly why RAISY hasn't been committing to these items. And as he discussed in his interview, sometimes it's better to forfeit them, build your own stack, and that's exactly what we see. By taking that item, he leaves himself vulnerable, and now he's stuck in an area he doesn't want to be in. So he works his way back around towards the LG, his safe zone.
4 minutes and 30 seconds. Plenty of time as the rails are exchanged.
Nice.
RAISY needs to grab some health, does have a light armor to work with, and that's been his lifeline this whole game for the most part.
And that's a position he's taken 2 or 3 times now, so it was predicted by VENGEURR, which is why he's eaten that. And you can now see this game of chess unfolding as VENGEURR is understanding the traps he's trying to set. He's working out the positioning that RAISY is taking. And the momentum continues to build, the pressure continues to build. What was a safe stack for RAISY, he's now struggling to get the lights he once had, and there's another rail. VENGEURR continues to prowl. Oh,
wow.
Did that connect?
RAISY's the magic man right now as he's, again, living off the lights. But yes, you're absolutely right. I think VENGEURR has a read on exactly what RAISY's trying to do, and it's just a matter of the execution of breaking into that safe house.
He doesn't have a read on this, 40. He doesn't have a read on this. Is he sneaking around? And he rocket jumps across, steals that away. VENGEURR took the risk to try and set a trap, and it wasn't to be. Now, this is important. This next item, they are both healthy enough to commit, and that's exactly what we see. The orb comes out, the rails comes out, but this time RAISY has to, again, retreat as VENGEURR connects with his rails. And we do go back to that game of chess. But VENGEURR says,
rocket.
Enough of this game of chess, RAISY. I want blood. I want it now. He makes a big move across. He's going to continue to press. He knows he's got the frag to tie this one up, and there we go. 1-1, 7 minutes in.
He had to work so hard for that, but now with that frag, he can still maintain the control, and now RAISY has to kind of be worried as to, well, I've been figured out. I'm also locked out of the map. He did swipe a couple items here and there, but mostly it's been all of VENGEURR in terms of control. So now RAISY has to try and find some damage. Otherwise, this could be real bad news. There's big LG catching VENGEURR off guard. Swaps the rail, but VENGEURR finds those cheeks. 2-1, and RAISY's game plan has crumbled, and now he's got to adapt, and he's got to figure something out, and I guess it's just a hook with the dire orb. There it is.
No, but the rockets!
3-1, VENGEURR racking him up now, and just like that, after such slow defensive play, it's turned into a bit of a madhouse, Dan.
It's gone 0-100, but within that moment of madness, RAISY's picked up a heavy. He's got no rail. We've got to remember that the distance game is in the favor of VENGEURR. He will know that. That's why he's playing this plus bet. You can see that S key being smashed, and he's running away, but he drops down. Oh, there's one hook, but he's still very vulnerable. RAISY's going to chase him down, and RAISY pulls it to a 1-frag game.
Great timing on the Mega. Almost finds the rail opportunity, but he knows he's towards LG, and wow. It's a big rail. Unfortunate miss there for RAISY. Will fall back to the heavy. Less than 2 minutes remaining, trailing by 1. Dire Orb in hand as well, in case he wants to get a little bit crazy. Here's the jump head towards Tribolt. RAISY, how are you going to approach this? How are you going to get this tying frag?
No rail in VENGEURR's hands now either, so he has to be careful. And he obviously doesn't want to play the choke points, but he wants to try and defend himself. Focus on his defensive rockets. He makes his way around to pick up the rail, but RAISY knows that's what he wants. So he catches him actually. Hook comes out. RAISY misses the rail and he's gone for now. Risky maneuver up by the stairs, but VENGEURR senses a bit more opportunity to do some damage. He's done a decent job. The orb is wasted. That will give VENGEURR a little bit more confidence to now hold this choke point as the burst damage is limited. He can try and hold this fortress for a little bit more time, but it's not to be. He will forfeit, but time is on his side.
Oh no. Nice positioning there. Good defensive rocket, just enough to keep RAISY at bay. And VENGEURR has to play this perfectly. 45 seconds left for RAISY. Can he tie it at 3 and send us into another sudden death that we've seen so much on this finals day?
He knows there's an orb up in 2. He wants to continue to chase. He doesn't want to waste his stack. There's still a little bit of time, but he has to make a move quickly. The Mega's the next item up, and VENGEURR's not there, but the rail is. He knows where his prey is. He's got the Mega, and now he's got the time to find him. He's going to catch him here. Over by the heavy, the hook comes out. He misses the rail, but the orb's going to be up on the chase. VENGEURR's gone, but no, he's been hit. He's been stuck. LG fight coming out, and VENGEURR's got nothing to work with. There's going to be a frag. He's going to go down. The matter is when, and it's down with 4 seconds to go. RAISY ties us up for another overtime.
My heart can't take this. My doctor said so, Dan, but we are in another sudden death. 3-3 between VENGEURR and RAISY on map number 2. RAISY does have timing on the Mega. VENGEURR trying to make himself a little scarce.
Such a split between
Does
the items
have a
40.
rail.
He does. He has to try and hit something, but RAISY is prowling once again. He's got both these items unlocked. He doesn't really care about defending the items. You know how stacked he is. He's just going to take it and go. 5 seconds to the next orb, and that's going to be the signal for him to keep pressing this advantage. VENGEURR not even at his starting stack yet. And RAISY knows how weak his opponent is. He's going to barrel on through, try and take this fight. A hook comes out, 1 down, 1 to go. There's the second. 3 seconds to VENGEURR, but RAISY's already there, and VENGEURR cannot fight.
Silver lining, I suppose. Dire Orb is down. RAISY doesn't seem to really mind.
But there's no hooks.
Yeah, and VENGEURR knows he needs to stay away. Gets the LG tickle. Heavy is up, but it's too risky to try and drop down, so RAISY will claim that one.
He's done a lot of damage, though. 1 more rail will actually equalize the stacks, and VENGEURR picks up a light to pretty much do the job for him. The Mega is next up. VENGEURR wants to try and do some damage, but RAISY once again just standing and posturing in the mid-ground. So VENGEURR has to make the long road round to try and hit an exit rail. RAISY, knowing where his opponent is, goes low ground, takes the light away. He knows exactly where VENGEURR is, and that's why we can see him making his pathing to the high ground now. VENGEURR moving, plus back. He's trying to do some damage. But this pathing from RAISY is absolutely unbelievable, limiting any potential rail angle for VENGEURR.
He's taken 2 of the lights. He's taken the majors. Mega's up next, and RAISY just needs to catch him out. And VENGEURR needs to run for his life. 1 hook in the pocket, 13 seconds until the next one. And RAISY is a man on a mission on the hunt right now, but doing a good job of making sure he's still maintaining item control over the map, not allowing VENGEURR to stack back up. Checking everything. You see that mouse flick? This is
just pay attention to how precise his movement around the map is. He takes the perfect angles to make sure that VENGEURR cannot hit any sort of entry damage. As I said that, he drops into his face. He has to all the way, but he can't make it.
Doesn't matter.
When perfection turns to disaster, yeah. That came out of nowhere.
VENGEURR says, I see your angles, and I disregard them completely. No, RAISY made himself, vulnerable in that moment, and VENGEURR just hit the shots he needed to, as he has time and time again throughout the day.
That match was so fascinating. You could feel the momentum shifting like a pendulum. That whole mid-game where VENGEURR had the control, and RAISY, he didn't want to overcommit and give away any needless damage, needless frags. He tried to goad VENGEURR into these choke points, but VENGEURR understood he could not take that fight. As soon as it blew open, RAISY just dominated the map, and VENGEURR absolutely on the ropes. And I want to see that final frag again, because he read that to perfection. I was just praising how perfect, RAISY was moving around this map, and
Caster's Curse. Good job.
Exactly.
Good job,
Thank you. I ended the map, but just dropped straight on with that read. Slight delay on the heavy from RAISY. That's all it took. Perfect situational analysis from VENGEURR. And once again, we look at these statistics and you can see how even it was. Bang on even in terms of those item pickups. Damage not too far apart either, but the big point of difference, that rail from VENGEURR just playing a little bit better, and the defensive rockets as well. 800 damage from VENGEURR being deciding.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And you know what? We were questioning, I was questioning at least. I was kind of wondering, endurance, stamina. No. Pure adrenaline right now. He's hitting the clutch shots that he needs to. VENGEURR still has a lot of fight left in him. We're going to get into map number 3 here shortly. It's going to be Ruins of Sarnath. And I believe it's going to be the Sorlag versus Straub on this one, Dan. And in terms of this matchup, how do you see this playing out?
This one is probably the most even of the ones we've seen all day. Obviously, we have a heavy and a medium champion, but the stack difference isn't as big as it was in previous encounters, and the speed is there from both sides. This one's much more just about strategy for me. You know, the crouch sliding strong, the air control is strong. They've got champions they want to play around, and so I think the area denial from Sorlag's going to be pretty big. We saw it earlier today how impactful that can be when it's used situationally, when your opponent can't get away or when they have to run away to get the bubbles. That's going to be a big factor, and just the brute force that Sorlag spins is going to be important. Are there going to be any big peekers? We'll have to see, but at least the scouting and distraction is going to be useful as well. But ultimately, this is going to come down to who plays better. We've had some phenomenal games so far. This is just going to add to that repertoire.
Absolutely, and it sounds like the crowd is ready for some big peekers indeed as we are loading up map number 3 here, Ruins of Sarnath. We love a live crowd, don't we, Dan?
Oh, yeah. That's what we live for.
And here it is. Map number 3 is live between VENGEURR and RAISY. Lower bracket finals winner gets to face Rafa in the grand finals. The Quake World Championships 2023 here at QuakeCon. We are starting off on VENGEURR. And oh, look, he has a rail out, Dan. I mean, it's been so crucial for him to hit some of these shots. Very proficient, no fatigue. And it's just incredible and crazy to me how VENGEURR can just have this sort of stamina and endurance, but he's still got more work to do here as he drops down, sends in the peeker for a little bit of reconnaissance first, knowing that RAISY's down there, does have to be wary of the spit, the Sorlag stack itself. So he's going to opt for the Mega as the heavy's taken by RAISY.
Yeah, but RAISY seeing that timing now as well as the pressure is coming on, going actually straight on through. The spit comes out, machine gun 2, and VENGEURR's going to tick down here. There you go.
Okay.
That's all it takes.
Just tore right through him. Talk about ripping and tearing right now. That rocket almost caught him too. RAISY off to a good start with the first frag in under a minute.
Under a minute indeed, but with the split between the items, RAISY could actually rocket jump up and go for the Mega if he decides to, and that's exactly what it looks like he can do. He's going to go up, actually go up the I-way, catch VENGEURR off guard as he goes right through. Big rocket coming up with an LG!
Just
Melted.
says no. This is not yours. And now RAISY trying to back off. 15 HP. He is stuck. Dead to rights, surely. And VENGEURR, a little bit of a tickle, does have the spit. Doesn't want to waste it here. No. VENGEURR's going to take him down. RAISY essentially concedes that and says, look, you got me. Fine. Take the frag. But with that spawn, he has position on the heavy. There's the trap. There's the spit. So much LG coming out from VENGEURR again, and he can't even steal the armor.
And that is huge. No, that steal would have been somewhat worth it, because at least he spawns and go aggressive. But no, he's going to go aggressive anyway. Goes in with just a rail to his name. He hits 2. So, crazy, but somewhat worth it as he gets himself a Mega. And no, he doesn't. His VENGEURR comes flying on in, and RAISY go down again. This
has gotten very bad very quickly as RAISY is forcing the issue, and VENGEURR is hitting so much damage like a truck right now. Peeker in hand. I mean, this is one of the reasons why we haven't seen a lot of Sorlag. VENGEURR on 55% LG, just brute forcing through the lizard. We got off to a good start because she could abuse the speed and the stack, but when your opponent confront you, that is painful. And you can see RAISY being like, all right, let me slow this down. Yeah. That didn't work out. Let me try and slow this down here. Needs to be careful right around the corner, just out of the rocket's reach, but VENGEURR knows. He's going to try and make sure he's keeping the damage output extremely high here. Heavy's going to be the next item up, and he's going to drop on down. RAISY trying to be safe and grab some lights. Trying to find the perfect opportunity to lay some damage. There's the spin. Nice. Great rail, but returned immediately by VENGEURR. Now he's going to swap and spam some of those nails. Make it impossible for RAISY to peek. He does fire off one rocket, but he says this isn't worth it. Disengages. No, and RAISY's in a bit of trouble now because
of this split between the two and the constant pressure coming out from VENGEURR in terms of the rail. 70% rail at this moment in time. 15 seconds to split between the major items. So the question remains, what can RAISY do to now halt the pressure? All series long, pretty much both series long. RAISY's been the one on the front foot for the large majority of it. Now he's getting a taste of his own medicine, and VENGEURR has found that flow.
Oh, and that rail doesn't knock him down, but still, VENGEURR took enough damage to go back to the light. RAISY looking before he leaps now as VENGEURR wants to take the back stairs. RAISY's going to go through the rail room. Does get to the heavy first, and it's up to VENGEURR. How do I want to approach this? You get a four frag lead. No reason to get too crazy here. And all the pressure's on RAISY. I mean, on a map like this, going against the Strogg and the mobility, time is of the essence. Not necessarily now, but eventually you have to have that in the back of your head that you got to go.
Yeah, step by step, he's going to have to build his way back into this. You can see him trying to scout out the area, and it's all about now maintaining that rotation. That's the big priority. He's taking away the lights. That's the theme we've seen from Rafa earlier today, and now he's going to meet VENGEURR down in the channels here. He sees him, but he doesn't want to push through that area. Definitely not. The rockets are strong. Instead, he takes the stack, and then now look at him. Now he can fly. Now he can chase. He's caught him in the courtyard. He's actually caught him up above, but he's been floated himself.
That's absolutely insane, and it's indicative of how this entire map has gone, where RAISY is literally throwing his body at VENGEURR, and VENGEURR is saying, all right, aim trainer, sure, I'm down.
And VENGEURR might tick down here. He's going to get very low, and that information is going to be there for RAISY. You can see the outline of RAISY flying around the map as he's aware that VENGEURR's in the vicinity and VENGEURR is low. He's also got the weaponry he needs now. No LG yet, but a rail in hand. VENGEURR remains weak. 13 seconds before this mega, and it should be uncontested from VENGEURR. Just holding that angle, you can see peeking through, and he does actually hit that shot.
Hits the shot, but fell down to launch the peeker, so RAISY will still get the mega, but I think VENGEURR is more than okay with this lead as we hit the halfway mark right now.
And this is what VENGEURR became known for as well, right?
Bang on even.
Bang on
as
even.
You would say. I'm picking up your slang. I'm almost English anyways. Get me a cuppa.
Yeah, lack of IQ for that, but anyway. Even production are now turning Cockney. But this is what VENGEURR's known for, is that defensive play. As I say that, he's actually missed time slightly. It's going to cost him at least part of his life. He ticks down again. He's going to have to find some health, and RAISY obviously knows how much damage he's done. You can see, but he's going around the long way. VENGEURR predicts that, and RAISY decides to use this moment in time to sweep up the resources before he gets the kill. Wow. That 5D chess from RAISY.
Not done yet. Not done yet at all. He is going to grab that heavy and make his way back over to the mega. Is he going to rocket jump? We saw that earlier, and it cost him everything. But again, it shows that RAISY's not afraid to play the way that he wants. That confidence might take him over the finish line here, as he is trailing by 4. Spit and rocket in hand. He's got everything he needs. He just needs to find VENGEURR just barely. Wow.
It does feel brick by brick. He's building his way back into this game. There is still a lot of time. We saw from VENGEURR when he built his lead, you can convert off the back of clean frags on this map. You can force the spawns over, particularly by that lower light, and just capitalize. So there isn't a massive rush at this moment. The bigger priority is that perfection in timing from RAISY, keeping the resources away, and most likely setting traps in and around the light armors, because VENGEURR cannot show face on the majors. He's caught him up above again, but he's been floated again, and that health just disappears.
Good Lord. 50% LG out of VENGEURR, 61% rail, and yeah, that's just brutal. And again, with the time the way it is, 3 minutes remaining, 5 frags, we're just going to see more of RAISY throwing his body at the problem, and VENGEURR clearly has no issue with that.
Yeah, but that felt a little bit careless, a little bit reckless, right? Even online, going up a jump pad into your opponent, that is not the play, and he's gone up into all the damage in the world, and this time RAISY feeling even more desperate given the circumstances. 2.5 minutes to go in map number 3. Having to make something happen to save himself from a decider.
Nice rail there from RAISY. Still doesn't really have the stack. He is going to grab the mega, but no armor. And VENGEURR again taking this highly defensive position. Wants to have multiple routes of escape.
And now the question is, what can RAISY do to close the gap? 5 frags the difference, just over 2 minutes remaining. VENGEURR on the defense up above. Doesn't see the lizard come out, so VENGEURR's actually going to go down himself. And just look at that read from VENGEURR, understanding that pathing from RAISY. He's going to go up again. This time he does get the crouch to stop himself being floated, but takes a bit of damage as well. He gets the frag, but he is so incredibly low, and VENGEURR knows it. That's why he's going in with just a machine gun, but that's all he needs to steal away the Mega.
Ooh, nice
Doesn't
rail,
get the frag. He's been knocked down, but he's going to steal away what looks like both major items. RAISY's going to push on through, and VENGEURR lets him get that one for now, just in the essence of time.
Yeah, I think he's done enough in this case. A minute 30 now, he wants to play hyper defensive again. Stealing at least one of them, didn't need to risk his life for both. Ooh, just missing out on that rail. RAISY needed that more than anything. Here's VENGEURR with a great defensive rail before he tellies. Misses with the second one to get the frag. RAISY does hit one, but
nice.
Another peek. VENGEURR takes him down, and Dan, there it is. The GG is called from RAISY a minute 10 early. I mean, with a 5 frag deficit, there's nothing he could have done.
No, nothing he could have done at all, and it all spiraled out of control before he knew what was happening. The start of that map, we expected something very strong, very competitive, high tempo. We got it, but it was definitely not the start anyone would have predicted. So flying start by VENGEURR, and the aim was just too much for VENGEURR, for RAISY. And we mentioned it. We haven't seen a lot of saw lag on LAN. It's a lot easier to defend yourself against these champions, and that's what happened. RAISY tried to go aggressive. It worked the first time, but 2, 3, and 4, that wasn't the play.
And now we're here. Now we're here, and this could be the last rodeo, so to speak, for RAISY.
I mean, always the bride. Maybe he won't even get to that point this time. He'll just be the bridesmaid as he's struggling.
Speaking of last rodeo, I do have a little thing here, Dan, that I found in the shop that I'm going to wear for our last cast because I think it's important. So. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeehaw, partner.
Thank you. Yeah. Hopefully this will give him some power here. I don't know.
Did you mean to match it?
Yeah, of course, please. This drip doesn't happen on accident.
I'm sure it doesn't.
Please. But yeah, I mean, if you're a RAISY fan, I think make some more noise. Let's give him some energy. Because this could be the last map here. Again, if VENGEURR takes this one, he goes back to the grand finals and he gets to face Rafa. RAISY, he just wants this. You could tell. He's always talking about it. He's talking about it constantly. This is a mess. Okay, here. Yes, what was I saying? Right, look at the crowd. Good God. And they're like, what am I seeing right now? Anyways, as I was saying, Dan, in the interview, he's just like, please, I just want to win. And now he's facing something where he might not even get second. And that's just got to break his heart even more. VENGEURR, of course, a previous champion. He wants to get back. He's going through hell in the lower bracket and showing the world that he still has what it takes with that endurance and stamina after all he's been through today. But you got to feel for RAISY, man.
Got to feel for me. I'm going through hell up here right now. Yeah. But yeah, you got to feel for RAISY once again. He's in this position where he's going up against someone playing phenomenal. But at the same time, look at that. Just levitated. At the same time, it's not over till it's over, right?
It's not.
That's
not
what every professional will tell you when we ask them, how do you reset? And the question is, you just put it behind you. You just take every map as it comes. And so it's just one of those situations where it hasn't gone his way. Map 1, he played exceptional. Series 1 of the day, he played exceptional. He met an immense Rafa to be in this position, and there is, no slight in that. But he's shown us today already, he has what it takes to overcome VENGEURR. The question is, does he have the stamina and the fortitude to do it after these back-to-back losses?
And that's another thing that's got to play in your head a little bit. I know at this level you got to be able to cleanse the palate, so to speak, but you're thinking to yourself, what happened, man? Earlier, I kind of smacked this dude 3-0 into the lower bracket. Now he's coming back at me after going through hell, and how am I in this position? You know what I mean? God, look at that guy. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Anyways, so yeah, I don't know. Blood Covenant, Galena versus BJ. Not a lot of mobility on either champion. VENGEURR has the ability to play hyper defensive with these totems. RAISY, as you've seen, clearly not against throwing his body at the problem with the dual wield, but on this map, it's not that common of a pick, Dan. There's places where you could trap, but usually it's like a corrupted keep, a veil, maybe, even if we want to get crazy. But Blood Covenant, what do you make of these champ picks?
It's definitely interesting, right? We've seen a lot more Galena and tradition on this map, just because as we talked about earlier in the day, you have the opportunity to potentially build that overstack, particularly if you get on the defense. You can play on the low ground, put your totems in some unusual situations. At the very least, it forces your opponent out of their usual rotation to try and find those areas that you're hiding them and clear them out.
It's amazing that you could look at me and be serious. I love it.
I get paid to look at you, which is...
Hold on, let me do something here.
I don't know what you're doing. But the BJ is obviously different. It's... Oh, fuck, man.
There's lights on it. So
I can't deal with this.
Well,
the BJ is definitely...
all I'm saying is RAISY needs to turn the lights on, okay? He needs to find this energy. He needs to try and get this map.
I need to be paid way more to work with you.
Well, you know, talk to your agent. I don't know what to tell you, but...
I think the BJ on this map is particularly useful for those long-range engagements, right? You can get the heavy machine gun out, you get two, you get the double tribal. There's a lot of good situations. You've got to be smart on when to use it. It's not obvious, but if you use it efficiency, it doesn't actually make the rail as important as it would be otherwise. It doesn't matter, though. He's picked the champion. He knows what he wants to do with it, and we're going in. We're starting on VENGEURR's POV, who gets the heavy spawn.
Again, 2-1. VENGEURR up. RAISY back against the wall, fighting for his tournament life here. Is he going to get third place, or can he go to another map? And look at that. That actually hopped him up into the bridge, luckily for him. As RAISY down by the pillars now, will grab the vials and the light armor after that initial skirmish early on. And what a rail from VENGEURR again. And RAISY doesn't have a lot to deal, or yeah, he doesn't have any rail, no. 100 HP and no armor, and he's already stuck on the bridge. And look at VENGEURR, he's just posted up right now, Dan.
Yeah, there's not a lot to do, but we know RAISY. He is the most patient player in the Pro League. He will stand there for 9 minutes if that's what it takes. But it doesn't what it takes. He actually steals away the heavy. Doesn't have that rail still. VENGEURR knows it, and that's why he's doubling back to hit the rail up the jump pad. He realizes that RAISY wants to go and get that, so he's going to make sure he socks him one for his troubles as well. RAISY scouting out down below, does find a couple of those totems. VENGEURR will obviously see that information as well as one disappears from his UI. And a second.
And they're gone. So 0-0, minute 30 in. Very cagey, as you would say, Dan. Did I take the words right out of your mouth?
I mean, you did, and inevitably it will be. When you're playing this map with a lack of maneuverability, it is obviously difficult to close the gap on your opponent. You're going to be more reliant on these distance engagements, but at the same time, even if you do the damage, how do you close the gap? How do you finish the job?
I'm not sure, but how did he sidestep that rail? RAISY almost found some damage on there, but he's going to drop onto the heavy way early, 8 seconds early, and he's just a sitting duck, but VENGEURR's nowhere to be found to deal any damage.
No, and we're in that decider territory in terms of maps as well. This is where the pressure begins to mount. Neither player obviously wanting to make any mistake, no matter how small it can be, game deciding. And this may even be a map that's decided by that single frag, so it is monumental that players make perfect decisions from start to finish. 10 minutes of perfection is never easy.
Oh, they're going to run right into each other around the corner. Did he
didn't
spot him?
see. He does now. He hears the rocket stumping by his feet. Moves across to try and do some damage, but RAISY's pathing once again is exceptional as he gets out without even being seen. The jump pad is hurt though. The rocket comes back out. Big rocket to rail combo. RAISY's there with a double heavy machine gun, and that's what I expected him to use it for. And a double rail, in fact, and VENGEURR actually responds more than in kind. RAISY's trying to defend away, but no, another rail to the butt. And RAISY, what's he going to do to get out of this one?
VENGEURR and the railgun. Let's talk about it. Absolutely insane. Heavy is up at 1. VENGEURR just lying in wait. He's going to take the jump pad up. Is the cutoff going to be enough? He should be able to deal damage on this one at least, Dan. On the way out, just gets more rail instead, but it could have been a bit of a trap there from VENGEURR, but he didn't feel comfortable pushing on that one. Mega up behind him at 1, and he's just cutting off the map now, playing for sound.
Yeah, exactly. Just hoping that RAISY comes around that corner at the very least to get some observation on him. He's going to meet him up on bridge now. But this is the choke point that neither one can pass. It is almost enemy territory on either side of the door. VENGEURR has an opening with the rail. He's actually going down the long way. Lack of mobility, no, not if you have a rocket jump. So steals away that heavy. Perfect time. He's going to make his way the long way around the map. RAISY knows it. He's gone up top. VENGEURR luckily doesn't take the jump pad that could have spelled his doom. He's going to try and beat away at RAISY before he picks up that Mega. He sees the timing. Big rail coming out. Also, significant split between the two. And there's the second rail.
VENGEURR find this last angle. RAISY going for the lower light, making his way back to the pillars to try and get another lower light. And just like that, all that work cut in half by that rail. And on the way out, VENGEURR so patient, finding the angles yet again with the railgun, getting so much utilization out of it. He's able to drop down onto the heavy for free, still totem in hand. He doesn't even care about the stack. He wants it mid-fight. Another rail onto the Mega after the pickup here from VENGEURR.
Utilization and efficiency is the key. 17 rails fired by VENGEURR, 7 by RAISY. VENGEURR's done 10 times as much damage with the rail as RAISY. That is insane. The amount of angles he's finding, the amount of opportunities he has to use that weapon. RAISY needs to find stability to even up that usage in order to maintain his presence on the map. And he also finds himself a frag down. We've seen how difficult it has been to even get a single frag, so RAISY, step 1 is obviously keeping control of at least his items. Step 2,
oh my God,
make sure you go toe-to-toe with the rail, and that's a good start.
That tri-bolt was so disgusting, Dan. As VENGEURR drops down. Heavy's going to be the next item here. He does have a totem in the pocket temporarily, just playing nice and slow, doesn't want to make a noise, staying out of harm's way. Over the halfway point, grabbing a quick light armor and making his way back to the pillars before the Mega spawns.
RAISY goes low ground. He's got the timing of the Mega as well. Now there's a big split between the two. If he can maintain this control now and get that high ground, he can really build his way back into the set. He needs to be careful. He pops the jewel early. He catches VENGEURR, does an immense amount of damage, and actually just melts him to tie this game.
Yeah, and I don't think VENGEURR expected that at all. The drop down, the dual wield LG was so brilliant from RAISY. Ties it at 1, machine gun from both players, and RAISY is just gonna almost fight this to the death. VENGEURR disengages finally as he had the better position to disengage. RAISY was ready to die there, Dan. That rocket, a little bit of damage, but the Mega is gonna make VENGEURR all okay. That rail angle would have been absolutely fantastic. The defensive rocket is so good, so chunky.
Yeah, RAISY loses his teeth after that encounter and has to run to the heavy side of the map. VENGEURR doesn't have a rail though, so he cannot aggress even if he wanted to. He has to play this slow. See him try and trap RAISY up here. He knows the rocket jump's going to come, but without this rail, he just have to pray that RAISY pushes his way through. He does actually try. It's a big rail, and there's huge amount of heavy machine gun, and RAISY can't do anything.
Wow. So passive healing him back up to 25. There's another bubble for 50, but yeah, VENGEURR just tore through him with that machine gun. RAISY not really ready for it. Takes a ton of damage, drops down for the light. This fight for the heavy might be a little one-sided here, but VENGEURR actually nowhere to be found. He's going to take the telly to go across the bridge here. Rail angle for RAISY, opportunity here. So VENGEURR trying to press on. He's going to eat one, and that's going to say, okay, I'm good. No need to risk it from that angle.
No, he still can't get across to that side of the map to pick up that rail. And that is a problem. That is definitely a problem. Look at the stack of RAISY now. 2 seconds before this Mega. RAISY's going to make his way across. He's going to make his way in. In fact, he has 2 LGs to go up against it, and the rockets are just not enough.
Yeah, that dual wield LG. Pinpoint precision by RAISY there on the Mega, using it as a bit of bait, bit of a trap there to get a second frag. 2:30 left. And VENGEURR taking a rail through the telly. Needs to be careful here. He wants to do damage on this heavy, but he just cannot risk it, Dan.
No, and RAISY's done a good job. Even though he hasn't been active in preventing the rail pickup, the way he's played this side of the map means VENGEURR has not had any sort of confidence to go out. And every time he has made a maneuver to that side of the map, and RAISY's either been there or done enough damage where VENGEURR can't. Finally, he gets a rail, but he's taken 1 rail. He knocks RAISY down. He eats a second. He's railable himself. He drops the totem, pushes himself up to 100, but he hears that click. He hears the double weapon, and he has to get out.
Tri-bolt to give him the information as RAISY tries to hit a rail from down under, instead eats one. VENGEURR on top trying to rain down another rail. Rockets from below. RAISY looking for some damage. 69, real nice, but that Mega pickup does go to VENGEURR. Totem in hand here, trying to find that angle, just clipping one of the pillars here, and more tri-bolt for information as RAISY knows that it's going to be a mad dash for the heavy. Does pick up the light and says, you know what, just
he won't go for that now. With a minute and a half to go, RAISY's all about preservation, and it's at this point of the game when VENGEURR's been playing so well all map long. His rail has begun to let him down. A couple of shots he really could have hit and should have hit, and he hasn't been doing it. Another exchange goes RAISY's way. That will open up a little bit of breathing room for him to grab that Mega and to oppress this next heavy. Now with a minute to go, there's not a lot of time, but he's just going to solidify that position, and Wenger has to reset and recalculate if he wants to tie up this game and take this series home. As it stands, RAISY will push us to a decider.
Yeah, he's been in this position before, has Wenger. He just needs to find it. Can he send us to yet another sudden death? And RAISY playing so low and slow. 30 seconds.
And here comes Wenger on the bridge. One rail actually gets smacked by the rocket as well. But that exchange is okay. At least he did his own damage. He's going to make his way around, and slow and steady he hits another rail. So does RAISY. Going to stop again. Another rail from RAISY on the defense, and there is not much Wenger can do. He has to just push and pray his opponent doesn't hit. 2 LGs come out. Oh, he's nearly railable, but there's the restack. Wenger just has to push with 5 seconds to go, and that frag will take us to a decider. A map 5, my friend.
Oh man, my heart can't take this, but this is fantastic. We're going all the way 5 between these two. RAISY refuses to quit. 3-1 is the map score. Look at those rail percentages, 55-54. Nothing too crazy, but just enough. I mean, the damage output was pretty fantastic from both players on that, but RAISY did what he needed to get done. The dual wield LG traps. That was kind of the name of the game there at the Mega. Lots of frags, lots of traps, and yeah, I mean, in this map specifically, again, we talked about mobility and the lack of mobility on both of these champions. Playing that hyper defensive and eating away at the clock is actually very, very easy in this regard on this map. And you saw there, RAISY did it. The corridors, easy rail shots, playing defensive, and he made it work. He made it work, Dan.
We did, and you can see here from the highlights that RAISY found good opportunities to force the issue. He found opportunities to close the gap and to get in and force a fight with the dual wield, which is exactly what he wanted. At the same time, one of the deciding factors for me was that when RAISY was out of control, he was able to maintain a presence because he had better usage of the lights. He got, I think, double the lights to Wenger across that map, and that was fundamental for him to keep his foot in the game when Wenger had all of that pressure in the opening stages of that
laugh
match.
at me. Molten Falls, map number 5. And let's talk about how crazy that's going to be. Death Knight versus Eisen.
I mean, yeah, we don't really see a lot of Eisen, so it's...
He turned on the lights, so to speak, ladies and gentlemen. RAISY, really bright future, this guy. We'll see, we'll see. But there's one map left, and the winner will face off against Rafa. Doesn't feel like much of a prize, does it? But both players really want to raise that belt. Wenger looking for his 2nd title, RAISY looking for his 1st after a string of consecutive 2nd places. Yeah. The most consistent player, but again, kind of the most heartbreaking in that regard as well.
Yeah, it would almost be a surprise if he wasn't in the final. And he's got one more map to make it come true, whereas Wenger's got one more map to complete his successful run through the lower bracket. A grueling run out of that. He's taken out some big names and had a long road, but it doesn't matter. He's got 10 minutes to make that all count.
Deep breaths from everybody.
Absolutely.
Here, you want to put this on? Good luck.
I got a big head. Is it going to fit?
I'm so offended. It's because of my big brain. Look at this.
There we go.
Yeah, can we give it up for ZSX? He never does fun stuff, so this is fantastic.
Thank you, thank you.
I bring out the best in Dan. I'm very proud of myself.
Doesn't fit me, no.
Yeehaw. See, it's hard with the thing, but yeah, okay. Anyways, we did it. Last map of the lower bracket final. And I mean, this is kind of one of the sets that you want to go to all 5. I know we saw some blowouts earlier, and we were like, what is happening? We expected some of those to go to 5. But out of all of them to go 5, this is going to the final map to see who faces off against Rafa in the grand finals. Wenger versus RAISY again. There's got to be a lot going on through both of their heads, but they got to clear their minds, and for the next 10 minutes, potentially plus, figure out what it takes to beat their opponent, get into the grand finals here.
We've had some blowouts today, 40. We've had some blowouts, but this makes it all worth it. Map 5, loser bracket finals. Here we go.
Live on VENGEURR right now, and again, Eisen versus Death Knight on this Molten Falls.
Be interested to see the usage of the turret. At the end of the day, as we know, it's not always going to be about maximizing damage. There's a lot of good utility, information, entryways. See how Wenger decides to use it. Whereas that Flame Strike, again, situational, but good for zoning, good for burst, good for this area, absolutely, and he does pop it. Wenger has to stand and fight. Wenger's got the aim, actually, and he takes frag number 1 of this map number 5.
Does not care. Burning alive, I'm still going to get the frag. No fear. Great rail as well. VENGEURR off to a great start here. He might get another one through the telly. No, he hears it. He plays great defense here, falling back. RAISY's just going to keep pushing. Testing VENGEURR's defense and his rail early on here, Dan.
Yeah, fortunate VENGEURR did miss that rail. That would have been worth it otherwise, but what will be will be. He does miss. He now wins himself a heavy in the process. VENGEURR doesn't hit the rail up the jump pad. That will signal the aggression as that Flame Strike is on. Nearly gets knocked off the map, but he has the Mega to fall back on. Rocket jump up, Flame Strike as well. VENGEURR standing his ground, but this time it isn't the play as RAISY does tie us up.
Tied at 130 in. RAISY has an LG of his own here. Now VENGEURR lying in wait, does have the LG, but doesn't have it out. Not quite yet. Wants to set the trap. Has the eyes in, the Timmy around the corner.
I'm not sure about this play. He's only got an LG and he's just going to drop, and RAISY respects the drop. Instead, trades with a rail, does hit it, but VENGEURR doesn't have a lot to work with. He's going to have to double back and just completely forfeit this Mega. RAISY respecting that and not wanting to take any undue risks. Only 2 minutes into this map. VENGEURR with the aggression in terms of that drop, and it does pay off for now. Still needs that rocket though, but with 10 seconds before the heavy, he's second guessing how about to play this. He's got Timmy if he wants to go up. And there's Timmy from behind, so he's going to have to turn and shoot. Second rail comes out impressive, and now he's so low. And he also wasted the Flame Strike 40.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, Death Knight without a Flame Strike. I mean, now you're just kind of stuck being a normal champion, and nothing special about you here as VENGEURR does take the frag lead, 230 in, and looking to add more here, just positioning here. Again, that rail has been so good for VENGEURR, getting so much damage. LG not too bad either. He's actually going to get knocked down the rail. Oh no, does hit it on the way out, but RAISY's able to tie it at 2.
Yeah, and it's getting messy down in the heavy area here as VENGEURR drops, connects with nothing, and RAISY does get away with a frag and with the armor. So it's going to have to try and reset now as RAISY has a clean sweep of the items. 10 seconds to split. And spotted out VENGEURR as well with that rail, so any work has gone to boot. Oh no, there's a 100 rocket though. That will stop RAISY in his tracks. 7 seconds before this next heavy armor, and he's trying to defend it. Flame Strike comes out, but it's just to force away the issue. He's pushing on, he knows that VENGEURR can't defend this, and RAISY continues to aggress. And how does VENGEURR get out of this one? The answer is he does not.
Literally just pushing him back into that corridor, and there was nowhere to go. RAISY able to finish that one with great LG. And this Mega is going to be free as VENGEURR can drop down with rockets here. Close-up rail shot as RAISY gallops on by with those hooves up 1.
And there's
this
nothing.
Is insane.
There's nothing on the map. The lights have gone. The items have gone. And this is a troublesome situation for VENGEURR. He's going to have to try and use those audio cues just to play the other side of the map. He's missed out on the LG. Don't think that was deliberate. But at least he's got himself a light now. And once again, those items are so split. VENGEURR drops a little bit late, misses out on that rail. That's problematic. He now can't really contest this heavy unless he catches RAISY prior to the entry, which he's done. RAISY's gone the long way around. He'll have to go TP, and he'll play it safe as well. So VENGEURR retreats, gets his second light, and now he feels a little bit more confident to maybe make a move on the next Mega. He'll go up and try and defend from high, but instead, he just wants to play the long game.
Beautiful rail through the telly there. Quick jump in. Let me get the damage. Let me get out. Let me get back to the Mega again. 1 frag lead for RAISY. Here is a quick rocket jump. Gets past the Timmy. The Flame Strike won't land, but the LG was so good previously. RAISY, wow. That rail, another one almost. VENGEURR so close to death right now. Needs to be careful. Does have some bubbles to work with. Also has the Timmy, but RAISY not afraid to push even with a 1 frag lead. So much on the line. Still playing that aggression that we've seen.
Wow, what a read.
2 big rockets with that read. That's 4-2 at the 5-minute mark, and he almost cuts the hair of Eisen with that rail. Knows exactly where he is and needs to be careful of this drop down, but RAISY's looking strong, and that read, as you mentioned, fantastic.
He used his own audio cues to bait VENGEURR in. VENGEURR would have assumed he was going across the top and would trap him, but RAISY understanding that. Incredible awareness from RAISY. Another Flame Strike comes out. This time it does connect, and that's going to be painful for VENGEURR as he can't go anywhere. He tries to double back, but at what cost? 40 HP. 33, and RAISY is healthy. He wants to get out without taking too much damage, and preferably with VENGEURR's life in his hands as well, and he's just waiting around, but there's a rocket. If a second one connects, this is not going to be worth it from RAISY as he's now low, and he's actually had to give up this Mega.
That play It was crazy. RAISY was just begging for the peek, and Wenger was just very precise with his peeks, making sure with that little HP, he just gets out of there. Doesn't give him an angle. But
no,
here
he's the jumper behind!
Oh my god, so much rocket damage, Wenger. Can RAISY get out of this? The Timmy was deployed. Flame Strike in the rail through the telly again. RAISY goes up by 3.
Great facts, 4 minutes remaining. RAISY playing phenomenally. He's got the read on Wenger, and Wenger is being stuck when these flame strikes are being shown out. He has to take these fights. He hasn't got any weapons now, and he's just going to stand and steal away this Mega. And now time is going to become more and more of an issue, and you can see once again peppering from afar. RAISY's beginning to get that understanding and the read on Wenger, and you feel it on the pressure that he's putting out.
Deals with Timmy, doesn't have to worry about that. He has to worry about Wenger's LG as he pushes in, but Wenger takes so much damage back. RAISY misses with the rail, but the follow-up, he makes it look easy. And Dan, 4 frags separate these two. Wenger, pressure mounting right now as time is ticking.
The only saving grace for Wenger at the moment is he has a Mega to fall back on, but RAISY's playing around this Flame Strike. He's playing around this heavy because this is where the Flame Strike becomes valuable. Once again, it goes on out, and Wenger can't move. Wenger is stuck. Turret comes down, but it's not doing anything. RAISY doubles back. He's going to forfeit the Mega, but he's probably just going to drop down and try and do a bit of chip with the rail. There it comes, but Wenger responds in kind. He takes that away, and now he has to try and chase. There's a big lifeline now. If he can lock down the map in these last 3 minutes, 40, it's going to be a hard road. It's going to be a long road, but it is possible.
Mega pickup is pretty good start here. Needs to be careful not to drop straight on down RAISY with good defensive damage. Wenger just trying to find an angle to do any kind of damage, and RAISY is just like, yeah, push these choke points, that's fine. Great Flame Strike after the rail, and Wenger, is he stuck in the corner?
Stuck,
I think the flames, he's walled him in. And oh, Wenger, okay, he says, you know what, there's not time for this. He's just gonna tactically take himself out. Now he's down by 5, and the time is still ticking, Dan.
RAISY's playing this so smart, just playing around that choke point again, just using the Flame Strike, maximizing the value of his champion. Now, time is really the issue for Wenger. With 2 minutes and 5 frags, it's, you know, frag every 20 seconds or so. And all this time is being wasted once again. RAISY's pushing him into a vicinity where he cannot damage the pickup, and RAISY just wants to play, hey, I'll see you later. You can't get out. I will trap you and damage you as you pressure this next Mega. In each one of these fights that Wenger doesn't get a frag is a fight his heart will sink.
Minute 30 remaining. Big Flame Strike, a lot of LG as Wenger backs off, but he's going to tick down, needs to find a health bubble immediately here.
And there's nothing around. He gets burnt alive. He ticks down, and RAISY moves it to 6 and secures more or less his place for revenge with Rafa.
That's it. RAISY's done it along with that Flame Strike. I think, unfortunately for Wenger, his dreams of getting in the grand finals have also gone up in flames. RAISY has done it. It took him 5 maps, Dan, but he was able to. And there's the official GG call from Wenger. Congrats to RAISY. He is going to get the run back with Rafa in the grand finals.
As you said, not the best prize, but if he makes it spin his way, it'll be the prize of his life, as he's fully deserved this run back. Wenger pushed him to the limit. Couldn't have done any more than we asked, and after a day of blowouts, what a series to take us to this final week.
I mean, it was a great series to kind of conclude the matches up to the grand final. We will get to see that rematch between RAISY and Rafa. You know, it is a little heartbreaking to see Wenger put so much into it. We talked about not necessarily inconsistencies, but he lost his balance a few times, found it, regained it, and in this particular situation, it looked like a couple times he was going to do it. And we were in the back at one point. It must have been the second map, and we were like, you know, Wenger's got to be sick of overtimes right now. And what are you going to do? I mean, you've got a teammate that pushes you to the limit. Those guys know each other intimately in games so well. And congrats to RAISY, right? Getting a second chance, unfortunately having to do it from the lower bracket again, but I think there's a lot of Wenger fans that are sad to see him go.
Yeah, like I said, we couldn't have asked him to do any more. It came down to the wire on every single map, more or less. And think back to the first map, the Clutch versus the Slash. If anything else had been different and that map was more even, it could have been a different story.
I mean, we said it before I left, right? Like, that was almost a gimme for RAISY. And frankly, I think that VENGEURR played that one better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it might be even higher scoreline. I think it was 10-5. Actually kind of impressive. But, yeah, I mean, if that would have gone a little bit differently, would we have a different scenario? We could play the what-if game all day, but it is what it is. And this last matchup, you know, I don't know if it was just like the wind getting knocked out of the sails or what, but that was, you know, how many games in a row there? Quite a few.
Yeah.
Like almost 9.
You also saw lots of interesting moments where you could see how in tune they were with each other. Some of the reads coming out there, the unique positioning, the traps. But that final map, as you just mentioned, was just a much better usage of a champion versus another champion, right? We saw Timmy being thrown down in desperation to no avail, whereas we saw the change in playstyle from the last 6 minutes of RAISY playing around that heavy in the choke points, because he knew with a little bit of a lead, you have to come to me. And so it was a great strategy from RAISY in the end.
So we are going to go to a break. We're going to probably take a little extended break. RAISY needs an opportunity. Players need to get set up, pick spans, all that good stuff. But before we do that, just talk a little bit about it. You know, what do you think here? We've got RAISY versus Rafa. Rafa sitting in the winner bracket, going to have that one map advantage. Going to have a little bit of pick ban advantage.
If I'm honest, some of the Quake I saw from Rafa today was the best Quake I've seen. Like, I'm talking perfection to remove your opponent of someone as good as RAISY from the map entirely.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. And you give that player an advantage and a fresh pair of eyes, you know, some rest, any more advantage you can throw at them. It's more than an uphill battle for RAISY. It's an uphill battle with low fuel. And if he pulls this one through, this is the miracle run.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was just going to say, this is the last way that he wanted to do it. You talked about the upper bracket in the interview. He just wanted it so bad. Well, it's going to be the nightmare way. This is the nightmare mode for RAISY, kind of like the speed runs that he's done in Quake 3. But yeah, this is it. He's got to come from the lower bracket again. The picks I want to be a little bit better. We've seen his picks before, and they're a little sketchy, a little suspect. So hopefully he can clear his mind and get better picks going into this best of 7.
I mean, I guess worst case scenario is that he's going to be the most accomplished second place player that Quake Champions has ever seen. But in all seriousness, right, like there's a Cinderella story in the making. Same for Rafa, right? A champion who potentially could be bringing it all back home to Rafa here at QuakeCon. So, all right. Camera's on me, apparently. That means we need to take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, QuakeCon 2023 Day 3 continues. The Quake World Championship Grand Finals between RAISY and Rafa is coming up next. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Yeehaw.